Welcome back, Pokemon trainers. Professor Chaz here. The lab coat's on back order, and the first thing I want to mention this week is, at the end of the video, I do have a couple more random booster packs I'm going to open up and give the code cards to you guys. Now, I just want to mention that right now because there's a lot of news I do want to talk about in this week's update video. I want to get that out of the way first of all. There's an X and Y and an Ancient Origins pack, so it's going to be cool to see what we get out of those. Now, first of all, I'd like to apologize. As you'll notice, there's no spooky lighting for this particular video. Now, what I'm doing for the month of October, since it is Halloween month, I want to have sort of like a bit of a spooky theme going on. Maybe I'm going to decorate a little bit with some Halloween creepiness in the background. But what I'm doing is recording videos at night so I can get some nice spooky lighting and uploading the videos the next day. Now, this past weekend, for one thing, I have a cold. I don't know if you can tell from my voice or not, but it's been kind of messing with my perception of space and time and all that kind of craziness. But also this past weekend was Thanksgiving here in Canada. So happy late Thanksgiving to all my fellow Canadians out there. For those of you that don't know, I do live in Canada. And we celebrated that over the weekend. So Monday was a holiday, which is just yesterday. And it kind of confused things because it felt like a Sunday, you know, the end of the weekend sort of. And it wasn't until I was going to bed last night that I clued in. I realized, oh wait, tomorrow's Tuesday. I was supposed to record the news thing for tomorrow, tonight, but it's bedtime, so I thought, well, just for this particular video, unless I mess up again in the future, it's not going to have the spooky lighting. However, do not fret, we will have the spookiness and the menacing voice, if I can talk properly, for the following videos of this week, the TCG and the video game matches. So the spookiness will return. Now, to make sure I got all of my notes here, I do. The next thing I want to mention is we're just a few subscribers short of 300 here on the channel, which is amazing and impressive, and I'm getting a lot of good interaction and feedback with the viewers. People are asking questions and just letting me know, I helped them out with my deck building video. Was it Deck Building 101, I think I called it. That is currently, I think, the most viewed video on the channel, and people are still checking it out and saying that I helped them out a lot, and I really appreciate the feedback on that. I'm glad that the video that I uploaded is helping people put their decks together. So it's really encouraging, and I do want to eventually do another deck building video showing some more advanced techniques. I might have mentioned this before, but I saw somebody that I played against that was using, the Scorched Earth Stadium to discard a fighting energy to draw cards, and then using a Landorus that could then attach fighting energy from the discard pile to a bench Pokemon. So it was really good synergy from the Pokemon, the Stadium, and the bench Pokemon as well. So there are some more advanced techniques that I could do at some point, and I'll probably do, Deck Building 102 or something. So, yeah, so we have a lot of good subscribers coming in now, and I'm going to continue doing the Pokemon videos as I am, these news updates, and the video game, and the TCG matches as well. But as you might have noticed from last week's Tuesday update, that was completely un-Pokemon related. It was the zombie walk that we have here in my hometown, the 7th annual zombie walk, a charity fundraiser sort of event. And I want to do some more things like that, like not just Pokemon on the channel. I want to branch out and have other kinds of videos. So that being said, actually the last week of October is going to be a little bit mixed up here on the channel, because I'm actually going away for a convention, like a comic book sci-fi convention called HalCon in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And that means that I'm going to be able to have an upload on Tuesday and Wednesday of that week, but I leave on Thursday, so the video game matches are not going to happen that last week of October, but they're going to come back the following week. I might even, kind of double up on them too, just to sort of get caught back up on what I missed out on the end of the October. So what I want to do though, for the Tuesday video, is have a walkthrough of a haunted house that is being put together here. It's another charity fundraiser event. It's called the Carnival of Terror, and it's being put on by Scare to Care, and it's going to be raising funds for the Canadian Mental Health Association, and it's to get everyone in the spirit of Halloween. It's going to be like a spooky, scary haunted house. There's going to be actors in there playing the parts of various, I guess, jump scares, and I thought it'd be kind of cool as they final lead into Halloween itself, which is, I believe, Saturday this year, having the Tuesday video of a walkthrough of the haunted house. Maybe talk with the people putting it together too, get a little bit interview action going on. See if I can, branch out from being just a professor and maybe reporter Chaz. I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. Now, following that, the Wednesday video, if I can get everything edited together, I should be able to, is going to be a video review of the pre-release tournament that we're holding here for the new expansion coming out, Breakthrough. So the weekend just before that, we are going to have the pre-release tournament. I'm going to be on site doing my professor duties, judging and helping out with the new cards and stuff like that. But also I'm going to be video logging sort of the entire event and getting some highlights from it, asking some of the players maybe what their favorite new cards are, and just highlighting the entire pre-release event, because I haven't seen any on YouTube. Maybe I just haven't looked hard enough, but I haven't seen any video information about what the pre-releases are like, and I thought it'd be cool to actually show the viewers what the pre-release is all about, as well as show you highlights of some of the new cards that are going to be out from the new set before they're actually on sale. Because at the pre-release, the way it works is you pay to sign up, and at the start you get 6 packs of the new expansion even before they're on sale in stores. From those 6 packs, you have to assemble a 40-card deck of just those cards, plus basic energy cards that are provided by your league itself, and design a deck just out of what you get out of those. Now, it is a more limited format, so there's only 40 cards in the deck. That's a standard tournament play, but the games are going to be played with only 4 prizes instead of 6. So it's going to be a quicker match than that. But at the end of it, as long as you participate for the entire event, you gain an additional 2 booster packs of the new set, which in this case is Breakthrough. So you're going to have 8 packs of the new cards before they're even on sale. So I want to highlight this event as much as I can because it's really exciting. First time I've ever been going to something like this, and acting as sort of a staff member as well, being the professor and the judge. So that will be the TCG upload for that week. And then, as I say, Thursday, Friday, I'll be on my way down to Halifax for the convention. I might even try to do a little video recording down there as well, and video log that when I come back as like the Tuesday upload. So we'll see how much video footage I can get. I still currently just use my phone camera, and there is limited space, but hopefully I can sort of back it up to something else, and then bring a whole bunch of footage back, edit together a nice compilation of the entire weekend. So that's going to be the update for what the channel itself is going to be going through for the next little bit. Next week is going to be the standard, news update, TCG match, team building video, and then the video game match itself. Now, as far as the video game goes, yesterday I spent a little over an hour, I think it was, finally trading items back and forth from, I had to trade from my Pokemon X game to my nephew's Alpha Sapphire game, and then because the SD card in my 3DS has to stay connected, I can't just trade directly from my own X game to Omega Ruby. I would then trade from the middleman, my nephew's game, into my Omega Ruby. So I have swapped over all the items I need. I can finally start doing the Omega Ruby battles, and hopefully I'm going to have that done for next week. And I don't know if I want to actually hold it off until November or not, because the time is running out. The rating battles for Omega Ruby that are allowing Poké-transported Pokemon, that season ends in November, and I don't know if they're going to continue it into the next season that starts in mid-November or so, going on for a couple months. So I might just jump the gun, I might just go right into it and get my first battle off, and hope they continue the trend of keeping Poké-transported Pokemon allowed in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. If not, at least I'll get a couple of videos out before I have to start doing a different kind of battle format. Now, as far as the other video game news goes, the online competition called the Spooky Cup has been announced. Now, in honor of Halloween, I'm sure, only the spookiest Pokemon, as judged by Pokemon International, are allowed in this competition. So there's a whole list of them. I'm not going to name them all off here, but I'm going to include a link down in the description. If you want to click on that, it's going to take you to Pokemon.com and show you exactly which Pokemon will be permitted in this online competition. A couple things to note is they're not allowing Poké-transported Pokemon, so they have to be caught or bred in Gen 6 to be able to use them. And Mega Stones will not be allowed. So no Mega Evolutions, no Legendaries, only the spookiest Pokemon ever, as well as Pikachu, because as they say, since there is cosplay Pikachu and it gets to dress up for the occasion, costumes are allowed. So cosplay Pikachu will be allowed as well. And regular Pikachu, I'm sure, because I don't know if they would distinguish between either or. Now, the way it works is, it's going to be a standard double format in the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire League, and the registration begins on October 15th, which is this Thursday coming up, and it's limited to the first 50,000 participants. So if you want to sign up for it, I'm a little late on mentioning this because it was actually announced back last week, but I did have a different kind of a news update video for the Zombie Walk, but I thought I still got time to mention it to you guys this week here. So this Thursday, the 15th of October, you can start registering. Up to 50,000 are permitted, and the battle period begins on Friday, October 23rd, and you're able to play up to 15 battles in this competition per day to try and get your ranking as high as you can. and you have to rank. You have to participate in at least 3 battles to earn a rank, and those who do will be qualified for the participation prize, which is 10 rare candies. I like the idea that they're giving out candies as a Halloween kind of a prize for participating, so that's pretty cool. So, yep, the battle period starts on the 23rd. It goes for the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, and you can get all your battles in. And again, check that link down below. You're going to see which Pokemon will be permitted. I did notice that I wouldn't have really thought of Rattata and Raticate as spooky Pokemon, but they are included. And as soon as I saw that, I thought, I can use Squeak. I could use his counter Focus Sash combo. However, since Poke-Transported Pokemon are not allowed, I couldn't use him anyway. And then I also thought, well, if he's fighting a bunch of Ghost types, counter wouldn't even hit them anyway. So I'm not too worried about missing out on this particular online competition, but I'm keeping my eyes open for other ones that I can possibly get involved in and record some of those battles for future videos here on the channel. Now, the only other thing I'm going to mention for the video game right now is Koopa. I don't know what's going on, but they've announced on Pokemon.com that Koopa is coming. Now, it's going to be some sort of online distribution, I'm sure. I don't know if they're going to do like just a basic distribution of Koopa itself as a download, or what I would prefer is if they actually, release an item that gains access to Koopa, and then you have to battle and capture it. Because I always like stuff like that. I've never really done anything like that, but I've seen it done in videos where, for example, I forget what you get. The Azure Flute, I think it was, in Diamond and Pearl would lead you to Arceus, and then you would have to battle Arceus instead of just having a Pokemon downloaded to your game. Like when they gave out the Shiny Rayquaza, they just give it to you. There was no build-up to capture it. It's just a handout. So I don't mind the handouts for sure. I mean, they're awesome and all. But I like the ability to actually battle and earn that capture. So we'll see how this goes. They do mention on Pokemon.com how there is a way to turn Koopa from its confined form into the unbound form, and the item you have to use for that. Now, basically all you got to do, if you have Koopa in your party already, just walk into any Pokemon Mart, and the teller or the clerk tells you a story about this item that he found or something. It's all images on Pokemon.com, you can check it out. But he gives you the prison bottle, which when you use it, it's a key item. You use it on Koopa, and it turns it into its unbound form, but then after 3 days, it reverts back to the confined form. So it's kind of neat how, kind of like Shaman, I think. Like Shaman, I believe, would turn back to its regular form when, I think, what is it, nighttime or something? So it's neat how they have sort of time limits on some of these alternate forms of Pokemon. So that's pretty cool. So that's all I'm going to mention for the video game. Now let's get into some cool TCG information. Now I already mentioned about the pre-release, how the format is you're going to get a bunch of cards and build a deck around that. And I'm going to be reviewing that when we have that event here in my hometown and doing a video review of it. But for the time being, what we're going to do is take a look at some of the cards that have been announced for the new set. Now first of all, we're going to take a look at this here is the promo card that you will gain from the pre-release event. That's something I forgot to mention. You're going to gain 6 booster packs of the new set, but you're also going to gain this promo card, which is Chestnut, Stage 2 Evolution, and you're going to be able to use this in your deck of that particular tournament. Something to keep in mind, though, is these new cards that you get from the new set, you won't be able to use them in other tournaments until the usual requirement, 3 weeks past the sale date of that set. So for this particular pre-release event, you're going to be able to use this promo card as well, and you'll see here it has 160 HP, Grass-type Pokemon, and Spike Lariat for a Grass and 2-color list does 60 plus. If your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage counters on it, it does 60 more. So if you have a way to put some damage, perhaps like say the Golbat or Crobat from Phantom Forces, get a little bit of damage off, even Forretress from Flashfire could actually do that as well. Play either of those evolutions down, put a damage counter or 2 on your opponent's active Pokemon. Chestnut suddenly doing 120, which isn't too bad for 3 energy. And the other attack for 2 Grass, 2 colorless is Adamantine Press for 100. During your opponent's next turn, any damage done to this Pokemon by attacks is reduced by 20 after weakness and resistance. So that's a pretty interesting card, and it works really well in conjunction with the first... this Chestnut, basically what the pre-release promos are, is a different art version of a standard card that will be in that set. Now here's another standard card that will be in the set. The first Break evolution we're going to take a look at here on the channel is Chestnut Break. Now it's very fine print, but Chestnut Break, basically it evolves from Chestnut. As I mentioned in a previous video, you're going to play this over top of the image of the Chestnut card to add more HP and a new attack, but as you'll see, the Break Evolution rule says, Chestnut Break retains the attacks, abilities, weakness, resistance, and retreat cost of its previous evolution. So everything else that the Chestnut normally has, it will still have, in addition to the new HP of 190, which is pretty much what you'll see in most basic EX Pokemon these days. And for 2 grass and 2 colorless, Tough Hammer is the new attack that it gains, 160 damage, again putting it on par with like EX Pokemon. And this attack does, or this Pokemon does 30 damage to itself. This attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So all you gotta do is put a protection cube on Chestnut, and you're gonna do basically dishing out 190 damage across your opponent's field, 30 to a bench and the rest to the active for no recoil. So that's a pretty powerful Pokemon right there, and that'd be pretty cool to pull out of one of the booster packs at one of these pre-release tournaments. The next Pokemon we're going to look at is Raichu Break. So Raichu gains a Break Evolution, goes up to 130 HP and retains the Lightning status, or Lightning type. For 1 Lightning and 2 colorless, Grand Bolt does 170, and you discard all energy attached to this Pokemon. So a bit of a drawback there, you do lose all your energy, but it is a nice powerful 170, which could get a knockout on. There's a number of EXs these days that only have 170. So Raichu Break itself, at the cost of all its energy, could get a 2-prize knockout by taking out an opposing EX. Now we're going to look at another EX Pokemon, which could be knocked out by that lightning attack, is Mewtwo EX. Now, one of the previous Mewtwo EXs was pretty popular. It had the X-Ball attack, which does 20 damage times the number of energy attached to both active Pokemon. So I don't think it's still it's not legal in the standard format. I think it's still available for the expanded. But this new Mewtwo EX with 170 HP, Psychic type Pokemon, brings Photon Wave to the field. For 2 colorless energy, it does 30, and during your opponent's next turn, any damage done by attacks from that defending Pokemon is reduced by 30. Interesting thing to note is in the brackets it says before applying weakness and resistance. That's a very important distinction to make, because things like Hard Charm will say reduce damage after weakness and resistance. So, for example, let's say Mewtwo EX is fighting a Psychic Pokemon, and because that's its weakness, of course, that Psychic Pokemon does an attack that does 40 damage. So the normal way, like say a Hard Charm would reduce it, like if Photon Wave reduced it like a Hard Charm, it would be 40 damage times 2 for the weakness, and then reduced by 30. So 40 times 2 is 80 minus 30. It would do 50 damage. The way Photon Wave actually works, the Psychic Pokemon is using 40 damage attack. Photon Wave reduces it by 30 first down to 10, then that gets doubled to 20. So Mewtwo EX is going to be able to block 30 damage from any opposing type, except for Psychic. Psychic, essentially, I believe the way it works out, it's going to be blocking like 60 damage because of the weakness. I think that's how the math works. Anyway, for 2 Psychic and 2 colorless, Mewtwo EX also has a Psyburn attack for 120. Now something I like to do is take note of, it's got 4 energy and does 120. When you divide those together, you get 30 damage per energy card attached to it. And that's one good way you can sort of rate your Pokemon and see how much damage they're going to cause and if they're that usable or not. A lot of times you'll see, say a 4 energy attack might do less damage, but it has a special effect of your opponent's Pokemon is paralyzed or asleep, or they lose an energy or something. So it's usually, I'd say, this is not too bad for a 30 damage per energy card attack. It's actually pretty good. Now, if Mewtwo EX is not enough power for you, let's move up to Mega Mewtwo EX. And this is the Mega Mewtwo X version from the video games, which is actually a Psychic and Fighting type. But in the card game, it is a pure Psychic. It has 230 HP, and the Vanishing Strike does 150. If there is any Stadium card in play, this attack does 50 more damage, and this attack's damage isn't affected by resistance, or any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So that's actually really powerful. You're not going to, like, anything like a Hard Charm or an ability that reduces damage. As long as you play a Stadium on your turn, if there isn't one in play, you're doing a flat 200 damage times 2 if they are weak to Psychic, because it doesn't say it's not affected by weakness, just resistance. So that's a very powerful Mega Mewtwo. The final card is a trainer card from the new set, a supporter, Giovanni's Scheme. Now, I don't know if I've seen a card like this before. It has 2 different effects, and you choose which one you want to do. It says, choose one, either draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand, or, during this turn, your opponent's attacks do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before weakness and resistance. So it's cool that you have a choice. Like, let's say Giovanni's Scheme is the last card in your hand. you can play it to draw 5 new cards. If you've already got 5 or more cards, you still have the option to play that and gain an attack boost for that turn. So it's pretty sneaky of the leader of Team Rocket to be able to have 2 different effects based on what your situation calls for. Alright, so that is all we're going to check out for the new cards. That's all they've shown on Pokemon.com so far. Without further ado, we're going to wrap up the video with the random booster pack openings of X and Y base set and Ancient Origins. You guys are going to get those code cards. Let's see what I get out of these. So let's get this show on the road. We're going to pop open the X and Y base set and the Ancient Origins booster packs. Which one should we do first? I know you guys probably want to see the Ancient Origins cards first, but you're going to have to wait. I want to get the base set out of the way first. Now, cards that I'm particularly looking for, I do want to make the, what I call Mega Golurk deck in the actual cards. So a good double colorless energy would be very handy to get out of the base set. So this here will be the online code card for one lucky viewer to redeem. See if I can get it to properly focus. You can take this to Pokemon TCG Online. Once it's focused, you can get the code. Why will it not focus? There we go. So take this, input it into Pokemon TCG Online, and get yourself a 10-card booster pack of the X and Y base set. If you do redeem this code, leave the other code for another viewer and see if they can get some luck out of that as well. So we're going to check out the cards from this pack, starting with, I think we're focused enough. We have a Panpour, Rhyhorn, Fennekin, it's not focused at all, and Jigglypuff, and Pawniard. We also have Volbeat, Shauna, Whirlipede. Reverse foil card is Shiny Professor Sycamore. Awesome. The rare card of the X and Y base set pack is, ooh, speaking of Chestnut, a foil Chestnut with Spiky Shield ability. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon and is damaged by an attack, put 3 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. This would actually be a good Pokemon to Break Evolve because it'll retain the ability, and the Break Chestnut will actually deal damage back when it takes a hit, and Touchdown actually heals 20 from this Pokemon itself. So that's not bad. Maybe if I do get this Break Evolution Chestnut, I might have to start making a grass deck. Alright, so now the piece de resistance is the Ancient Origins Shiny Groudon, Primal Groudon on the cover. Cards I'm looking for out of this pack, I'm hoping to get a Jolteon, so I can include that into the Golurk deck as well. Alright, so code card number 2, right here for you. And if you do happen to get a really awesome card out of one of these packs online, feel free to leave a comment down below, let me know what you got, I'd be interested to hear about it. Alright, now these cards in the physical form, we'll start with an Eevee, Cottony, Relicanth, Golurk, not the Golurk that I use, of course, and Persian. Uncommon cards start with a Paint Roller, discard a Stadium card in play, and then draw a card. Not too bad. If your opponent is gaining an ability from Stadiums in play, you might want to get rid of it. We have a Gloom, Ace Trainer, good to play if you're sort of losing the match. It's going to be very useful, almost like the end cards of previous sets. Reverse foil card shall be Inkay with Ink Spit. 10 damage, and your opponent has to flip a coin to attack next turn. On a tails, that attack misses. Alright, the rare card of this pack is Registeel. Now, the Reggie brothers from this current set, they all really work well against EX Pokemon. For example, Forbidden Iron Hammer for 70 damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, discard an energy attached to it. The Reggie Ice from this set actually is really useful because it has a move called Resistance Blizzard, which also does 70, and it takes, I think it's like, it takes no damage from EX Pokemon next turn. I think that's how it is. But yeah, so it's completely immune to EXs, so if you have all 3 of the Reggie brothers in a deck, they could possibly, with some good luck and lucky card draws, be the EX busting deck you've always been looking for. So those are the cards that I've gotten out of the set. Again, let me know down below in a comment if you get a really cool card out of the 2 online codes here, and I'd be interested to hear what you get. Alright, thanks for checking out the booster pack opening. Wait, I forgot one thing. Okay, so in Pokemon Shuffle news, a new Pokemon Safari stage has appeared in the special stage where you can find some spooky Pokemon. There is Duskull, Dusclops, Pumpkaboo, Gourgeist, and Zubat, Golbat, and Crobat. So they recommend you bring a ground type, ghost type, or dark type to be able to dish out some damage against those Pokemon and capture them for your collection. In addition to the Pokemon Safari, another special stage has appeared, Dusknoir. You're going to be able to take this thing on directly, not just a random occurrence in the Pokemon Safari. Hopefully be able to catch that for your collection as well. Okay, that's all the news for this week. I'm going to get out of here and get ready for the TCG match coming up tomorrow. I'll catch you next time.